Mercy Me are joining us on the God Rock Show right now, guys. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us.
Almost 30 years you guys have been doing this as a band. Are you finding people are late to the party and still discovering you today?
Man, I hope so, because we're just trying to avoid hard labor. So it's, yeah, I mean, it's, if somebody would have said we would have been a band this long, I would have thought they're crazy. So I hope people are still discovering it, or our old fans are still digging it. I don't know.
I think it's just that our old fans are having kids that are then becoming
that's it. Yes.
fans.
It has been almost 30 years. What was the goal back then? I mean, was it just trying to put food on the table?
I think it was just to make music because we love music. Like I would say when we started, I don't think any of us, like he said, would have thought it was 30 years. I don't think we would have thought it was 5 years. It was just like we were having fun making music and felt like there was a purpose to it, and it's just, God's just kept snowballing it.
Yeah, I think we were at college, and it was just like, or I was trying to be in college.
We were college dropouts. Is what I meant to say.
We took a semester.
We were college age.
Took a semester off to start the band, thinking we're
30 years later?
Yeah. We thought we're going to have to grow up at some point, so let's just make music for a little bit.
Still got your student card that you can use at the movies and get
Yeah,
That's a brilliant idea.
Yeah, we should.
Who inspired you back in the day? So, I mean, you cast your mind back to back then. Who were the bands on the radio that you were listening to going, we want to do what they're doing?
Oh, like DC Talk was, Jesus Freak was just coming out. Like we were 94. Free at Last was out, obviously, and it's kind of weird because like by the time we were a band, let's see, Jars of Clay had just come out.
PFR was a big influence. Delirious was a big influence.
Let's see, the Gaithers, Tommy Dorsey Band,
The Garmon Key.
Al Jolson,
Striper, a lot of Striper.
Yeah, Striper.
Yeah.
Big influence.
There's some amazing bands that you've mentioned there. Have you ever done gigs with those guys along the way and just had those pinch me moments?
Yeah, Barry used to be in DC. He used to play for DC Talk. He's played for all the bands we've named, I think.
He played
Not
Striper Sweet.
Yeah.
Close enough.
But yeah, we have. I mean, doing it 28 years, I don't feel like there's anybody we haven't had a chance to meet or share the stage with. It's been pretty awesome.
What's it like for you guys as a band when someone comes up to you and says, you guys have changed my life? I mean, it's a massive statement to make, but music is so powerful. So how does that feel when someone says to you, you've changed what's going on in their world?
For me, it feels like I chose the right path, and that God paved the way for me to do what I'm doing, and So this just solidifies that. Yeah.
It's always very gratifying, for sure.
Yeah.
We've joked around the last couple of years that we've had a lot of time to sit around and be grateful. One, that we're still doing this, and that people, not only we're still doing it, but people act like they want us to keep doing it, which is nice.
It's pretty humbling too, because if you spend more than 5 minutes with us, you realize we're kind of like pre-teenage kids. Like our brains have not developed fully, and so to know
Should have finished college.
I don't know what would help, but to know that God could still use guys like us who are we're just a bunch of goof-offs, and God still to this day is using us in people's lives that we've never met. It's incredibly humbling just to know that He would allow us to be a part of anything He's doing.
Take us behind the scenes, like behind the curtain of a band for a second. Like there's 5 of you in the band, you've got crew, you've got extended family. How do you communicate as a band? Celebrate the wins. All of a sudden you get a number 1 somewhere. Who's the first one to tell the band that, hey, look what's happened?
Just a big text thread.
Never ending.
It's a funny meme.
I don't know. I'm probably the label. Somebody from the label or our management will tell us what's going on, and it's. I don't know.
It usually goes through
me,
if the label reaches
spread the
out.
word or whatever. But right, there has been a few times we found out when songs are releasing through social media.
Literally when Kai said that our next song's coming out tomorrow, I was like, that's for real. Okay.
Any surprises with those sort of group texts, like, hey, we're number 1 in Japan, and you didn't realise the song was even being played there?
Yeah.
You didn't know that?
Yeah. Is it? I don't know.
Yeah, there's been some of the cooler surprises are when a pro athlete or somebody that you just don't expect is, into song or a fan or whatever. Those are pretty cool moments that happen from time to time. Yeah.
Can you talk to us about the impact of the band? So, in your own words, what have you witnessed as a band? Your impact, I guess, I don't want to say on the world, but on the public that listen to your music, songs coming out the radio. What has been the Mercy Me impact that you've witnessed?
Man, Yeah, I mean, I would say the the first time that I can only imagine kind of blew up was right after 9/11, and it kind of went to pop radio, and that was something we didn't even know what to expect. You know, we write songs that are clearly about Jesus, which, you know, you would assume that's not going to show up on mainstream radio or whatever, and when it took off, we were genuinely surprised. Like, that was, I don't even think we were dreaming big enough when that stuff happened, and then, you know, and it was just it was an amazing surprise. And then almost 20 years later, when they made the movie, and that song kind of it did, you know, it just did some crazy stuff again. It was like, what is happening? Like, we thought we'd do this for 2 or 3 years, and it's been a pretty, I mean, it's been an unbelievable journey. I was just thinking about, like, with my kids, I was telling them things we've done. I can't remember what it was. Oh, we were watching the Indianapolis 500, and I totally forgot that we were like one of the guests riding around the track and before the race. So it's just little things that I've forgotten, and it's just been, you kind of stop and look back and go, man, what an insane ride it's been so far.
You talk about I Can Only Imagine. It has been described in numerous polls as the biggest Christian song of all time. And I know you guys are humble guys and you might argue that fact, but you know the stats are there. How does that make you feel when you think we wrote the biggest song of all time?
We talk about it daily. No,
Yes.
Surely there must be
Someone congratulating each other. Well done, guys.
a must somewhere where it comes up, or, you know, like that. I mean, it's such a beautiful fact, but how do you discuss that as a team?
I don't think we do. I mean,
Yeah.
I think we look to what's next. Like, we're grateful for that song, obviously, and grateful for every part of our story or whatever. But I think we still enjoy creating, and like, it's never. I don't want to say it's never enough, but like, we always have something else to offer. And so, like, not that we dismiss the past, but we honor it. But we're ready to move forward. So I don't think we sit around and, I mean, every now and then it's like, I can't believe what all's happened, and we're grateful for sure, but I don't think we just sit around and we're ready to make something new.
Because I'd imagine you measure your own success by the bands you grew up with. You know, when that sort of fact comes out, you're like, well, what about Jesus Freak?
Yeah.
You know, like, there are some songs that impacted our generation as well.
Yeah, or songs that probably, I mean, even growing up, like I'm a huge ELO fan of my whole life as a kid, and there are songs that probably were never popular, but they're like the most important songs in my life. It's such a personal, intimate thing with music, and so it's cool, like, that Imagine, you know, has done what it's done, but at the same time, you know, there are some random songs that are, to some people, the most important song ever written. And it's just, it's cool, but yeah, Mike's right. We don't really dwell on it much because, you know, it's just everybody kind of has their own thing they're going through, and it's like you know, in music's an amazing thing to where you instantly hear a song and it takes you back to a memory or a moment. And I don't know, it is very cool though that song is a part of a lot of people's lives.
You touched a nerve with ELO. I drove 2 hours to see ELO once.
Heck yeah!
I turned up and there was a handwritten note on the door saying, "Singer has a sore throat."
No!
Cancelled.
Blast you, Jeff Lynn.
2 hours there, 2 hours back.
Oh man, I finally got to see him on this last tour right before COVID, I think.
It was
And
pretty
it was
amazing.
so everything I wanted.
I bet his
to be.
voice still would have sounded great, though.
I would rather have done voice than no voice.
Yeah, you don't have tracks. You can't sing that.
When people stop you guys in the street, what's the one thing they always say to you? Like, what's the one bit of feedback you hear, or the most common thing that fans tell you when they stop you?
Oh, casting crowns.
That's not a joke.
We usually say, "Where's Starbucks?"
Yeah. Let's see. What have I gotten lately? You're my grandmother's favorite band.
That's a lot of that. My mom loves you guys.
My mom loves you guys.
It really is to this day. It's something to do with Imagine. Like, you know, it's somebody who has lost a loved one or whatever, and the song has got them through. Which, you know, it's heavy, but it doesn't get old. I mean, we're grateful. I think it was Mark Stewart of Audio Adrenaline that said, "Hey man, it could be worse. Big House could be your famous song." So, you know, yeah. But yeah, we still get this, and it's funny because it's still surprising. Like, if we're in an airport and somebody says something, it's like, oh yeah, okay, cool. Especially lately because we've been home for so long, and I had a mask on somewhere, and somebody stopped me and said, "I love the song," and I just wasn't used to it. I was like, "Come again?"
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
5 guys on the road, traveling. Any conflict ever in the band, and how do you deal with band conflict? It's got to pop up from time to time.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, just like living with anybody, you know, political discussions or, you know, yeah, or no, some people think Domino's is the best pizza and they're wrong.
Somebody stole my donut.
What'd I say?
Some people like,
Somebody did steal
all
a
this
donut
is stirring
once.
up something.
The donut, the great donut mystery is still a real thing.
we digress.
Yeah, so I mean, it happens, but we're brothers. We love each other, you know.
So years ago, somebody brought these really amazing.
Here we go. No, you bought your own. We went.
No, I
there.
didn't buy them, but somebody else, Daniel, somebody got them, and there was one for me, and somebody took it. And to this day,
No one's
and we're like, we've told the crew, I was like, one of you punks took it, and it's so funny.
Yeah,
'cause
we
every
actually
time
found the security cameras.
Every time somebody will joke about it, it'll start like, I know one of y'all took it. Like, it's like you go right back there. It's so
I still have
unresolved.
my theory. I think
It's been too long now. So I write a list of questions I want to ask God when I get to heaven. I'm putting that on my list of questions.
Yeah.
Who took his
Who
donut?
stole the
Who
donut?
stole the
Who
donut?
took Mark's donut?
I think it's Daniel.
I wanna
I think it was Daniel.
I think
Yeah.
it's Daniel.
Somebody did.
He's our tour manager. I think it's Daniel.
Yeah.
Can you guys remember life before Jesus was in it? Like, is there any memories, distant memories of before you became Christians?
I was young. I grew up in a Christian home, so I would say no. I would say though that there are memories from like the time I decided like I don't want to go to hell to the time I decided I wanted to like follow Jesus, which was probably more like I was 18. And again, even then I wasn't like a off the rails kid. I just realized I wasn't as in control of my life as I thought I was, and I wanted to trust the one who I felt like was. Who knows what tomorrow holds.
You guys hold a pretty important position in sharing the gospel with people, I guess, at your concerts and through your music. How would you present Jesus to people watching this for the very first time?
Man, gosh, how would I? For me, it's like, people, especially it seems like this day and age, like, I guess people can argue whether Jesus is real or whatever you believe or whatever, but and it was what I was taught growing up too, is that my testimony, what Jesus has done in my life, can't be argued. Like I know what I was before, and I know what I am now, and it is sometimes it's hard to put into words. How I think that's why my full-time job is trying to put it into words and music, and trying to explain like this is what Jesus means to us, and means to me, and I don't know. I feel like I would fall short trying to explain it, but it's like as a parent and a husband trying to let my actions show them that, man, we just did an interview and they were talking about like how do you remind yourself to pray and how do you do all this stuff, and I'm like, man, he's been a part of my life so much that it's almost or they were like, what if you ask Jesus for something, you're waiting for an answer? And I'm like, man, at times it feels like with my wife, I may ask her something, but I have a pretty good feeling what her answer is going to be. And I feel like the more that you line yourself up with Jesus and that you just stay present with him, it becomes like breathing. It literally is a part of you, and it's no pun intended, but it's hard to put into words. And I think that's why I do it for a living, is just trying to find ways to explain it to people that may not know him, because to me it's a no-brainer. Has
there been a message from day one? Like, what have you guys stood for that's lasted the whole almost 30 years as a band?
I know we've said over the years, one of the things that we've always said was, man, whenever this is over and said and done and we hang it up or whatever, we hope that people will look back and say we tried to do it with integrity and tried to be true to what we were originally called to do. And doesn't mean we're perfect and certainly don't get it right all the time, but I think if there was something sort of to be proud of, would be that I think that our message is still about Jesus. And especially when you see a lot of people who are, I guess, reconsidering or deconstructing whatever it is they grew up on, we still love Jesus. We still love what we're doing. We still believe the message is that important after 28 years. And and a lot of heartache and a lot of tough times. And we're still here hanging on, trying to figure it out.
Talk to us just quickly about the fun stuff, the pinch me moments. Has there been an experience as a band that you all look at each other and went, this is awesome?
Yeah, sure.
like thousands
Yeah.
of them. Yeah,
The Macy's Thanksgiving Parade, just because we had to stand on that float for so long, and
made
just
our-
there
made our
were
tour
several
managers.
moments of just sitting there going, "What is happening right now?" Because it's just all morning and
Yeah. The-
8 million people on 10
Billy Graham
blocks.
Crusades. We got to be a part of his final crusade in New York.
Yeah.
That was amazing. When we played on Jay Leno the first time, and just how surreal that was as the curtain kind of goes up and you're playing and you realize I've watched this a million times and like it's happening right now. It's So
It really is freezing cold in here.
that room was brutal.
Would you give a message of encouragement to people watching this, people that may be having just rough times, really struggling in life? What would you say to encourage people watching the God Rock Show?
Man, for me personally, like at the risk of sounding cliche, like my hope truly is in Jesus, and there have been times that it's been tested, and times where it's like, man, you want to give up, and as amazing as it is, it's like He's been enough, and not only my relationship with Christ, but the people that God has surrounded me with, and I couldn't do life without these guys, and just a godly family, and man, if we can't live believing that there's something bigger than us in control, then I think we truly are hopeless, and I just don't believe that we're hopeless, and that's as crazy as it sounds, man. It's like there's something bigger in control, and it's life changing and life giving.
Yeah, I think in Scripture where it talks about, he who began a good work in you is faithful to complete it. Like there's good in the end, and if you feel like you're in a season where it's just not good, like it's not over. There's still hope, like you said, and I think that if we can trust that, and be patient, and God's going to bring it to good.
Just awesome having you guys on the show, on the God Rock Show.